The owner of a large farm on the outskirts of town is a good friend of mine. The wild boars had been invading his farm on a regular basis, destroying his crops and causing significant damage, and he had been complaining about it for some weeks. I was unable to overlook this situation. In spite of the fact that I was well aware that an exciting journey was about to take place, I decided to assist without further hesitation. I, along with a group of local hunters, made our way right into the mountaineers' land, ensuring that our weapons were locked and loaded and that our hounds were in position. Because of their unwavering loyalty, our dogs remained our most reliable partners throughout the dense woodland environment. As soon as we heard them bark, our hearts began to race, and we were prepared to take action. A wild boar of huge proportions is what they have cornered, and just look at it. Wow, it was a flawless shot. In a second, the enormous beast fell to the ground, and it did not even have a chance to fight back. Over the course of many years, we have polished our intuition. Sometimes we are able to detect the presence of prey even when the dogs are not around. Something as simple as a peculiar odor or a slight disturbance in the ground was sufficient to put us on higher alert. As soon as the time was right, we had only a few seconds to take the shot, and that was all that was required of us. We proceeded a great distance into the mountains, exploring every nook and hole. As a result of the dense underbrush, our visibility was severely restricted, and our dogs once again served as our eyes and ears. The hounds were hot on the trail of the wild boar, which was currently running away from them. I made a determined effort to get closer to the target. I took the shot in a neat and decisive manner based on my dealings. When confronted with such force, the boar had little hope of survival. Almost immediately, it fell. I was able to locate my next target by following the hounds barking once more. Unexpectedly, a wild boar emerged from the undergrowth, displaying a state of panic and charging directly in our direction. Now was the time to grasp it. This one could not be allowed to get away by any means. The shot was loud and piercing in its impact. I did not give chase to the pig as it continued to gallop down the road. I was aware that the round had struck a crucial point. It was a question of inevitability that the beast would eventually give up. While this was going on, the remaining members of the team were also actively pursuing other targets. I was able to detect a boar that was running away, and I immediately radioed Delvin to catch it. Using his keen vision, he quickly zeroed in on the target and did not demonstrate any hesitation. A single accurate shot caused the injured boar to lose its balance, causing it to tumble down the slope before coming to a peaceful stop. We maintained our vigilance. When you are out in the wilderness, danger can be found anywhere. I was taken aback when, seemingly out of nowhere, a wild boar charged directly toward me. There was no time for me to ponder, so I pulled the trigger. With a shot that tore through the air, the beast was brought down to the ground by the impact. Once again, we have added another proud moment to our hunting record. As we were making our way back, we were immediately put on high alert when we heard a peculiar sound coming from a neighboring grove. It had to be wild boar for sure. As soon as it came into view, I did not wait for it. The slam! It perished as a result of a lethal shot. The boar stumbled and then fell to the ground, stumbling into the underbrush. We have decided to take a more responsible approach in response to the widespread and unrestrained hunting of wild boars. On each and every hunt of this nature, we adhere to the restrictions in a stringent manner, paying attention to the permissible seasons, zones, and quotas. By doing so, we are able to preserve our passion while also contributing to the preservation of equilibrium and sustainability in the natural ecosystem. The province of Muğla, which is situated in the southwestern region of Turkey, is well known for its unspoiled alpine landscapes and breathtaking beaches. An increasing and difficult-to-manage problem, the rise of the wild boar population, hides underlying this beauty, yet it is extremely difficult to regulate. A total of more than 300 hectares of crops were lost in the course of just the previous year, as reported by the local authorities, leaving hundreds of farmers in a state of severe despair. However, the situation is made much more dire by the fact that pork is not generally consumed in Turkey. Hence, the population of these animals has been spiraling out of control. As a result of this predicament, other hunting clubs, including our own, have taken action in the goal of putting a stop to this continuously growing threat. Then, let's not squander any more time. All right, let's get started. We took up our positions as soon as we arrived in the western mountains of Datka, which are known to be one of the most frequented areas for wild boar in the region. We did not have to wait very long. In a matter of minutes, we came across a boar that was running at a rapid pace. We gave pursuit and opened fire without any hesitation, and as a result, we were able to bring home our first trophy of the day. Much to our astonishment, there was not only one, but a great number of others in the vicinity. The air was suddenly filled with the sound of dogs barking and the piercing squealing of the boars, which caused the atmosphere to become tense and electric. We continued to launch wave after wave of assaults, and we were successful in eliminating some of them straight out of the fight. The thing that was most surprising to me was their size. They had a large, muscular, and thick body that resembled monsters who were hiding in the jungle. Following our departure from the forest, we relocated to a lower slope that offered a more unobstructed view, making it ideal for locating targets. When I looked up from that vantage point, I saw a large and powerful alpha boar making a break for it. I controlled my breathing, positioned myself for the ideal shot, and then fired a single bullet into the target. After that, the entire group moved their attention to the other boars in the area, with the expectation of bringing down a few more of them. I established a covert ambush by following a path through the underbrush and setting up a trap. After then, a wild boar suddenly emerged from the woods, seemingly out of nowhere. I raised my rifle without giving it any thought, and then I fired a shot that was clean and spewing, and it ended in an instant. During the process of searching the area for more targets, a full herd suddenly materialized, standing on end as if they were aware of potential danger. Amidst the forest, they dispersed in a disorderly manner. I finally caught sight of one of them as it darted across my range of view after I had been following them for some time. I took advantage of the situation, pulled the gun, and successfully delivered a critical strike. We continued our pursuit and went on to kill a couple more of them. What truly took us by surprise was the sheer number of them that were still floating around in the world. Unexpectedly, a solitary boar made an attempt to flee by sniffing through the bushes. This occurred out of nowhere. Just in the nick of time, I was able to drop it with a shot that was just perfect. As we had progressed further, we discovered an increasing number of paths and markers. We arrived to a deep thicket by following the track till we reached it. Finally, I was able to pinpoint the objective. I had my weapon ready, and I pointed it directly at a crucial location. As soon as the shot was fired, the boar immediately fell to the ground. As we were making our way back, we were taken aback when we came across a few more stragglers who were swift and on high alert. A chance was not squandered by me. I hampered them in a discreet manner while I waited for an opening. A few well-placed shots later, another one went down, bringing an interesting day to a close with a satisfying conclusion. Wild boars are capable of reproducing throughout the entire year, with each litter containing anywhere from 6 to 12 piglets. Because they lack the ability to exercise adequate control, they will continue to destroy crops and endanger people's livelihoods. It is possible that we were successful in eliminating a significant number of them today. Yet, in the big scheme of things, this is merely a little chapter in a much longer fight against these intelligent and lethal beasts. Based on the available data, it is anticipated that agricultural production suffers damages amounting to up to 80 million United States dollars annually, particularly in the areas of farming and cattle. The job that hunters like us do has been promoted and supported by local authorities as an essential control measure. This is because of the reasons stated above. In no way is this a typical hunting expedition. It is a part of the continuing fight to ensure that people's livelihoods are protected while also restoring the balance of nature. Following the completion of our plan, we started making our way to the hunting area that had been specified. While we were moving into position, the dogs that were used for hunting had already been set free. It was then that they started sniffing around and following the prey. I see. Within a short period of time, the dogs had already established themselves as members of the territory. All of a sudden, a large wild boar charged in our direction. Despite the fact that I pulled the trigger right away, it only took one round to send this beast to its knees. Even though the dogs were barking with great ferocity, it continued to move forward. Oh my goodness. That posed an unacceptable risk. Just as we were beginning to believe that the boar had fallen to the ground, it abruptly re-emerged. To our great relief, we were able to complete the task with a second shot in the allotted time. Despite the fact that the threat was past, our hearts continued to race from the inside without stopping. It turned out to be an unanticipated visit. But I wasn't the only one. Other members of our team had also taken notice of a target that was appealing to them, a herd of wild boars making their way up the slope of the mountain. They strolled around aimlessly, fully oblivious to the impending threat that was approaching. What a bang! A gunshot was heard, which caused the lead boar to turn around and eventually collapse. While the others remained still and vigilant, my friend fired another one down, seizing the opportunity that presented itself. While the remainder dispersed and raced for their life, there were a few individuals who were not fortunate enough to escape. The open terrain made it possible for me to see the picture in a clear manner from a high vantage point. It did not take us very long to recognize the head of the boar. What were we anticipating all along? Put the fire on now. During the salvo of rounds that we fired, the surrounding mountainous region was filled with the sound of gunfire. Instantaneously, the boars dispersed in a chaotic manner. Because we were unable to eliminate all of them at once, we focused on the ones that were isolated. Our crew was able to eliminate several of them despite the absence of any cover or assistance. For the second time, our reliable hunting dogs guided us to another potential target. The fact that they were barking so loudly compelled me to run in the direction of the boar. In response to the dog's efforts to corner it, I took a couple more steps forward and lifted my weapon. Instead of retreating, the wild boar started charging straight at me, but I managed to keep my anxieties under control and fire a shot that went clean into its body. That was a really perilous time in the situation. Don't take the chance of going hunting by yourself like I did if you don't have any prior experience. An adult boar that was fully grown came into our line of sight from a considerable distance away. On the other hand, using abilities that had been perfected over the course of years, bringing it down was not too difficult. I was able to successfully land the shot by quietly sighting and softly squeezing the trigger. After taking a hit from the gunfire, the boar was unable to maintain its balance and fell down the mountainside. Despite our exhaustion, we continued to push forward. It appeared as though it was growing closer. That is the case. Because I was pressed for time, I fired off a number of shots in fast succession. Unfortunately, our companions were able to knock the boar down just in the nick of time, despite the fact that it had changed its course and continued to run. It is not true that wild hogs are native to Wisconsin. Over the course of several centuries, they were brought to the United States, where they eventually interbred with domestic pigs and flourished as a result of this collaboration. They have been able to survive and significantly increase their population as a result of global warming and shorter winters. They reach into the northern regions of the United States and expand their range. These animals are hunted on a weekly basis in the woodlands that are located close to the property. I never imagined that I would one day become a boar hunter for a living. The reason for this is that wild boars have assaulted my farm over the course of the past 2 years, causing substantial damage that has cost me thousands of dollars. As a result, I made the decision to purchase a firearm, not for the purpose of having fun, but rather to safeguard my own territory. As soon as I saw the first wild boar, my heart began to race. My purpose was quite firm. Immediately following the firing of a gun, the largest wild boar fell on the ground. Those who were left fled. Wisconsin is a state that provides the perfect environment for wild pigs to hide in because of its rugged terrain and dense foliage for cover. If you are a farmer in a region where wild hogs are exhibiting signs of invasion, you should not wait until your entire crop is destroyed before taking action with your situation. Now is the time to act. The wild boars were going from one bush to another, and we were able to observe them from a distance. We felt that this was our opportunity to take the wild boar when it finally came to a stop. The trigger was pulled without any hesitation on my part. Subsequently, we came upon a wild boar almost immediately. Presumably, it detected a threat, which prompted it to pause and listen. In addition, it was completely oblivious to the fact that this would be its final call. It is necessary for us to acknowledge that wild boars are quite intelligent and sensitive during this hunting excursion. They have the ability to detect impending danger, and they can flee. To put an end to wild boars, we must all exercise patience and wait for the right moment. When it runs, the wild boar is fairly quick. In order to eliminate it, we have to seize the opportunity. A relatively vast region is designated for hunting. We move around quite a bit in order to locate a location that has the greatest number of wild boars. I was given some advice on how to shoot wild boars by Hanner, a guy who is of Belgian and American descent. According to him, they typically go along the trails on a daily basis in order to feed. An ambush of wild boars is possible there. Undoubtedly, we were able to spot a number of wild boars running by right on the trail right there. As we were making our way to gather the goodies, we came across a massive wild boar.